Most High, coming to you with another first day of the week breakdown. The name of today's class is New Year's and Inherited Lie. New Year's and Inherited Lie. I know by us being over here in the land of our captivity, we as a nation of people have to understand that everything that we have been taught over here was a lie. We can never, ever believe anything that our enemies that don't have our best interests at heart will teach us anything according to the Most High God's word, or even any troops, as well as these holidays. I know that celebrating New Year's and our people don't even understand that is not the beginning of the year. So I know we kind of want to go into these things and bring out scriptures concerning these things. Yes, we have been inherited lies, even with, like we say, the Januaries, the months of the year. These are ancient Roman gods, So according to the Bible, we never called and gave the months names. It was always the first month, the second month, the fourth month, the fifth month. But we know that these names are here, even like January. January represents the god of Janus. It says in ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings. So they use January and put a term on it that doesn't line up with the Bible, saying the beginning when it's in the middle of the winter. The Most High God gave us these things according to his seasons. I'm going to read it again from the top. In ancient Roman religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, and doorways. Because during the ancient times, you would have Janus as a representation of a God looking to the future and behind. Shalom, shalom. Sister Mary Houston, Brother Daniels, how y'all doing? So, like we said, these are all false deities. These things do not line up with the Bible, brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom, Sister Odetta Price and family, how y'all doing? These things do not line up. So, brothers and sisters are out there celebrating New Year's, it was totally going on, and that's an inherited lie. First precept we're going to go to is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33 and verse 29. And when we read this is going into the blessings that Moses was blessing the 12 tribes of Israel. Also stemming off from Genesis chapter 49 as well. Understanding this, how we're able to line up and identify who the 12 tribes are today. This comes with a lot of understanding, and these are deep parables. Shalom, shalom, EC, how you doing? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33 and verse 29. It says, "Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord." So Israel is the people that's saved by the Most High God. Because guess what? When he destroyed the Egyptians, guess what? He passed over us to kill the Egyptians, to bring us freedom. Even during that time, Most High God's salvation was only for Israel. And it's going to be the same thing when he brings us up out of this American captivity as well. Verse 29 again from the top. "Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee." And we have to understand and identify who our enemies are. I know you've been dealing with the brother out there on the streets yesterday. Our people know who our enemies are, and a lot of times our people are afraid to say it. Esau, the so-called white man, has put a level of fear on our people, brothers and sisters, and it's easily to identify. It's easy to identify, man, and our people hate to speak truth in this world because we done been taught so many lies. It says, "And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee," just like them celebrating, having the whole world celebrate New Year's. No, because guess what? This is just not pushed over here. This is pushed over there in China. This is pushed all over the world by these Greek gods, Greek and Roman gods. It says, "And thou shalt tread upon their high places." We're treading upon our high places by using the Bible, because the Bible is breaking down the lies that we have been taught. get another precept. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 85 and verse 11. You know, that's why it's very pivotal that brothers and sisters get in this Bible and learn who you are as a nation of people. Learn your nationality. Learn the truths about what's going on in the world. Our people have no clue. They have no idea how much we have been bamboozled. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 85 and verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. And that's what we're having right now. Truth is springing forth, meaning what? The understanding of the Bible. The true understanding of the Bible. That's how we're able to, guess what, decipher truths from falsehoods, fact from fiction. Like we said, we're uncovering the matrix as it speaks. I know a lot of times they speak these things, but guess what? Our people really are in the matrix, man. In an illusion that's cast over the eyes of our people. And they don't know up from down. Like we said, that's why they outside, wasting all their damn bullets, shooting. A lot of times, guess what? They're going to the clubs. A lot of times people are being found dead. You know, it's a lot of wicked things that go on during this night. And like we say, rightfully so, because guess what? Our people are in a state of delusion and in a state of error. I'm going to read this again from the top. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 85 and verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. That truth that it's talking about is what? The law, statutes, and commandments. The true understanding of the Bible. That's what's coming out, because the Most High God was giving us times and laws and high holy days to celebrate. He was giving us these things. That's all you have to do is, guess what? Go through the scriptures, and you'll find these things out. Let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7. Precepting with Psalms chapter 85 and verse 11. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 44. It says, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Even during this time, Ezra was prophesying about these things. Eventually what? When the Most High God was going to eventually wake us back up and guess what? Start to, guess what? Put the truth back in the earth again. Now we're able to understand that, guess what? Christmas is not of the Most High. Thanksgiving is not of the Most High God. Guess what? Celebrating New Year's in the middle of the winter on January the 1st is not of the Most High God. This truth is springing back up, showing our people the light and the ways they should go. Let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 12. Because the Most High God did what? He gave us high holy days to do what? Celebrate in their seasons. That's the key right there, the understanding, like we say, the days of the year. Even with Esau being on a 365-day year cycle. You know, nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that. The Bible tells us, we'll go through that next, that it's what? 30 days a month. 30 days a month goes into what? 360 days a year. Even like what Ak was bringing out yesterday. They would say that's a complete circle, 360 degrees. The Most High God is perfect in his work. It is not 31 days here, 28 days here. You know, the Most High God, 30 days for 12 months. And that gives you a 360-day year cycle, brothers and sisters. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So we know when the Most High God brought them out of the land of Egypt, taking them through the wilderness. Then the Most High God was doing what? Setting up laws, ordaining high holy days and ordaining seasons as well, giving them the understanding, because guess what? They was found by the philosophies and doctrines which they had learned in Egypt, just like many of our people today. That's why it's what? It's no new thing under the sun, brothers and sisters. Same thing that was going on now was going on back then as well. They would say these things are written for our learning, so guess what? We can't be caught up in the confusion. It says, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. So we know, and even when we're going down to verse 6 is going into what? The Passover. The Passover is in what? In the beginning of the months. So we know that Passover starts around what? mid-March, mid-April. That is the beginning of the year, brothers and sisters, not in the dead of the winter. Let me get Leviticus and we'll come back. Let me get Leviticus chapter 23. Because this is the key. The Most High God gave us high holy days to celebrate in their seasons. This is how you can tell if it's the beginning of the year or not, or what time of the year that we're in. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be a holy convocation. Even these are my feasts. I'm going to jump down. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, meaning holy gatherings, which ye shall proclaim in their season. So the Most High God was giving us what? High holy days to celebrate in what? In particular seasons. We can clearly see precepting with what? Exodus chapter 12, that guess what? Passover is in the beginning, because it said what? The first month. Then it said what? In the 14th day of the first month shall you celebrate what? Your Passover. So we know in Passover, even Esau knows these things with Easter or whatnot. They know when the Passover really is. It's only our people that have what? This cloud of confusion over them. Esau know these things, even on how they put it in the months of the year. You know, with October, meaning what? The 8th month. But they have it as the 10th. November, going into the 9th month. Adeka, going into December as the 10th month, but they really has it as the what? As the 12th month. Even in the prefix on the months of the year. Esau know these things, but our people don't consider these things at all, man. We do not consider these things whatsoever. So we see that, guess what? The Passover starts the new years, brothers and sisters, not the dead of the winter. Even in the title, the spring, this is when spring is starting to what? Spring back to life. So you have spring, you have summer, you have fall, then you have what? The dead of winter. When things are dying from what? From when they have sprung up. Now that cycle does what? Restarts all over again, brothers and sisters. Guess what? The New Year's is not in the middle of the winter. We have to keep homing in that point. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. I know we cover these things a lot. We said we love to reiterate these things, especially for new brothers and new sisters. Even Daniel prophesied about these things. Shalom, Judah King, Shalom, Wide Downey, brothers and sisters that are tuning in. Kenneth, Brother Kenneth Paul Williams, Shalom, Shalom. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Who is the he that speak great words against the Most High God? It's going into the so-called white man and his nation of people. Why do they speak great words against the Most High God? Because they do things contrary to what the Bible commands us. Even like how we're celebrating New Year's. Where in the Bible, even if it was the New Year's, where in the Bible does it tell you to celebrate the New Year's? You know, you won't get those things in the Bible. The Most High God has given us high holy days to celebrate. They're adding to the word of the Most High God. Where does he tell you that, guess what? You can marry anyone you want, any race, any gender. You won't see those things in the Bible. That you should go to church on Sunday. That you should celebrate Christmas. That you should celebrate Thanksgiving. Your birthdays. That guess what? You shouldn't keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how they speak against the Most High. Telling you you can eat anything. When the book of Leviticus teaches us otherwise. That's how they speak against him. It says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High. This is the prophet Daniel speaking prophetically about Esau. It says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Who are the saints of the Most High God? The Israelites. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The saints, according to the Bible, is what? Psalms 148 and verse 14. That's who the saints are, brothers and sisters. Everybody is not a saint. Mother Teresa is not a damn saint. We got to get that out of our head. Even with the Most High God, guess what? Killing that Pope Benedict. Hey, all praise to the Most High. I don't know if it's me or man, he literally looked like the incarnation of the devil. I'm talking about he got an evil look on him, man. And guess what? The Most High God killed him. Just like, guess what? He's bringing affliction even on our people as well. It says, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. How they're wearing us out? They're wearing us out what? In captivity, with these false doctrines, with these false philosophies. They're literally wearing us out, brothers and sisters, man. Especially if you're not equipped to handle these things with the true understanding of the Bible. They're wearing us out. And I know brothers and sisters are getting tired, but guess what? We must endure to the end, brothers and sisters, man. He says, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And this is the point. And think to change times and laws. That's what they have done to our people. They have changed God's laws and they have changed the times. But can they really do that? Does the so-called white man in this nation of people really have the power to change times? No, he cannot change what the Most High God had already set up. Only thing he can do is change our minds about how we think about God's laws. That's how they wore us out. They wore us out in slavery, teaching our people that guess what? Sunday is God's high holy day. That guess what? The new year starts in January. That you don't have to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. They're literally wearing us out, literally beat our nationality and our heritage out of us. And a lot of times our people just are giving in. But that's what we got to fight that fight, brothers and sisters. It says, and think to change times and laws. That's what we are celebrating. Or as a nation of people, thinking that guess what? This is the New Year's. No, it's not, brothers and sisters. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and a dividing of times. Meaning what? A certain amount of period the Most High God gave us up so he could rule. Approximately what? 350 years. We was in captivity for a number of years, but after that 350 mark, that's when the Most High God started to do what? Breathe life back into us. Now we're understanding that like, hey, we done been taught lies. We done been inherited lies. These things must stop, man. But it's only one nation of people that is doing this, man. Like we always say, who is controlling the world? We can't be simple concerning these things, brothers and sisters. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19. We have to wake up and come out from the lies that we done been taught, brothers and sisters. And this starts by what? Coming back to your nationality. You know, that's what the Most High God is sending these people in the uproar. That's why he's having what? Kanye, Kyrie Irving, you know, us constantly at odds with the Jewish people, knowing that guess what? We're trying to take our heritage back, man. Even that's a lie. You know, one of the biggest lies that's perpetuated on the planet Earth is who really is God's chosen people. We have to meditate on these things, brothers and sisters. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. So we know that the Gentiles is going into the other nations. Guess what? They done been inherited lies too by the elites of them. The Rothschiilds, the Bilderbergs, the 1% of the world's economy, the super elite, the Rockefellers, and so forth. All these people that have a stake in America since America was basically stolen in 1492. It says, and O Lord, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in the day of affliction, because we're being afflicted as a nation of people. When they're trying to teach us things outside of God's law, statutes, and commandments, that is affliction, brothers and sisters, man. It says, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Because like we always say, there's no profit in celebrating these wicked holidays. What's the profit in those things? Nothing. But we do have a profit in celebrating what? The dedication, like how the Most High God describes, that's a high holy day in the winter. That's profitable for us to do because guess what? It's having us remember who we were as a nation of people and that the Most High God had given us that high holy day as a commemoration for us being what? Being out of the bounds and taking back our temple from the Greeks. Our high holy days literally have meaning, brothers and sisters. Christmas has no meaning. We were the Christmas presents. We were the gifts. Those things have no profit in us celebrating those things. All it does, it makes people poor. You know, you're trying to scrape up presents for your children, which sometimes don't even deserve those things. And then guess what? You're spending your bill money to have those things. Then guess what? Next month, guess what? You're in shambles. I mean, we have to think logically about these things, brothers and sisters. So we see that, guess what? We have been inherited lies, man. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 9. And we're in a state of confusion in here, in this nation. You know, a lot of times us not separating from our enemies, we literally think just because the Most High God has put it on your heart for one or two Beckys or Tanners to deal righteously with you, you try to lump all the whole nation. Well, they all ain't bad. Well, even like Capt would say, you got 10 good snakes and 10 bad snakes. I bet you won't put your hand in there to see which one gonna bite you. You know, we can't play those particular type of games, man. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces. And that's what we're in right now. We're in a state of confusion of faces, not knowing our nationality, not knowing what the Most High God requires of us, not knowing how to properly serve God. We're in a state of confusion, don't understand why the world is the way it is right now, that the Most High God is literally turning these nations one against another for our sake. Shalom, shalom, brothers and sisters that have tuned in. Like we say, any questions that brothers and sisters may have, please put them in the chat, Brother Yaakov family, Brother Tony, shalom, Brother Jasmine Warren, shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm going to start it again from the top. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as at this day. We're in a state of confusion, brothers and sisters, man. This is how time our people turn back to their nationality and turn back to their God, man, to get up out of this confusion, man. It's confusion everywhere. You got men wanting to be women. You got women wanting to be men. You got women wanting to be the heads of men. Men not trying to take their proper role back. I mean, it's confusion. Wild beasts that should never be in certain parts of the land in one part. I mean, this whole world is out of whack, brothers and sisters. It says, unto us confusion of faces as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel, meaning both the northern and the southern tribe. Because a lot of times the northern tribe, so-called Mexican and Native Americans, they don't even understand that, guess what? They are the children of Israel. A lot of times so-called Hispanic Americans label themselves as what? As Caucasians. Because guess what? They want the benefits that Caucasians have in this land. Shalom, shalom to brothers and sisters that are tuning in. It says, and to all Israel that are near and that are far off, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against the Lord. So the Most High God says we have a spirit of confusion on us because we break God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the main thing, and that's why the whole earth is at whack, man. We don't even understand how powerful we are as a nation when we are keeping God's commandments. But that's if and only when we keep God's commandments. We don't have those stipulations without keeping the commandments. And a lot of times brothers and sisters think that they do. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. Meaning what? Our people love sin. Love sin. We can be out there prophesying from day in and day out. Don't think that when we out there teaching our people on the highways and byways that they don't know that they're Israelites. They know, a lot of our people know that they're Israelites. They know, and they know that the things that they are doing is sin. But a lot of times, like the scripture said, our people love darkness rather than light. They love to stay in the dark, man, thinking that what? Nobody's going to see them, thinking that the Most High God is not seeing them, thinking that the angels are not recording. But no, it's a penalty to be paid for that particular sin. Verse 5 again from the top, the book of Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Why are they all out of course? Because guess what? The Israelites are what? Not taking their place as God's chosen people. So that's why you're seeing murders at a high rate. You see in the places in Chicago, especially in the ghettos and the hoods, just the youth are just all out of control, man. Black hatred for one another is at an all-time high. You know, we love our enemies more than we love our own nation. You have interracial marriage at an all-time high, homosexuality at an all-time high. You have wickedness at an all-time high, brothers and sisters, man. And it's because we're following the inherited lies that we have been taught. It says they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundation of the earth are out of course. Verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Because our people love that part. They don't like verse 5, but they love to claim that they're gods. But what did the Most High God say? But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Why are we falling like one of the princes? Because we're not keeping the commandments. We're loving the lies that we have been taught. It says, arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. And that's something that we must pray for as a nation of people, that the Most High God constantly keep bringing judgment on the planet earth, brothers and sisters. Because guess what? He's ultimately doing it for our sakes. A lot of times brothers and sisters can't even see it. That's why he killed that Pope, even though he was old as hell any damn way. But guess what? Hey, the world is better off without him. They're over there pushing pedophilia, homosexuality, raping little boys and so forth. And so-called northern tribes still have the audacity to send their kids to Catholic schools. I mean, if that's not a state of confusion, I don't know what is, man. That's what we're constantly telling our people. Come up out of these churches, man. Come up out of these lies that our people have been taught. So like your brothers and sisters. Let's go back. Let's go to the book of let's go to the book of I got it. Lost my thought real quick. Let's go to the book of John. We said the Most High God has given us high holy days to celebrate in their seasons. Just like how we had a season with the Feast of Dedication in the winter. It's literally telling you that that should be celebrated in the winter. It's the book of John. John chapter 10 and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of the Dedication, and it was winter. So even just like how the Most High God was showing us that the dedication is celebrated in the winter, just like what? The Passover is celebrated in the spring or at the beginning of the year. And we say we have a set time for what? To celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. All God's high holy days have a season to be celebrated in, outside of the 7-day Sabbath. That is celebrated season in, season out. Let's get to how we know it's 30 days and not 365 days in a year. Go to the book of Genesis, because this is another lie we must come out from. Go to the book of Genesis, chapter 7. Genesis, chapter 10. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 7 and verse 10. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month. The same day were all the foundations of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. So we see what the Most High God is letting us know in the second month, the 17th day of the month. Let's flip over. Three. Make sure y'all precept these things together. Remember, the thought is we're showing how it's 30 days in a month and not 31 this month, 28 this month, 25 the next month. To my Esau is all over the place. The Most High God is in perfect. And the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. So we have 150 days where the waters were receding. Verse 4, and the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. So in Genesis chapter 7 and verse 10, it says that they started when what? In the 2nd month on the 17th day. But then in chapter 8, in verses 3 and 4, it was saying that it rested in the what? On the earth 150 days. So you have to see doing what? Dividing what? 150 by 30. And you get what? 5 months. 30 days in 5 months. It's not 365 days like how Esau has been teaching our people, man. Lies. We cannot think that our enemies, which have no interest at us, would teach us anything. Just like they're teaching us that we're African Americans. Guess what? That's why it went in the proverb. You know, how much more deeper things. You know, they're not even teaching us the truth about simple things, brothers and sisters, man. Let's get that real quick. I hope brothers and sisters have took that down. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 12. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10, and it reads, never trust thine enemies, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So the Most High God is giving us laws, giving us understanding on never trust our enemies, man. Never. And the enemies that he's talking about is any nation outside of what? The Israelites. Never trust them, man. Never trust thine enemies, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Meaning what? It takes iron a particular long time to rust, but eventually it does rust. Meaning what? You may have Becky at the job. She may be cool with you for many, many years, but over a period of time, you'll start to see that wickedness start to appear, brothers and sisters. Though he humble himself and go crouching, meaning what? They may get you things at the job, may see you out and about, may be giving out people money that are homeless, and people take that as kindness. No. They're humbling themselves and crouching themselves to do what? To get in good with you. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. So that looking glass is going into a mirror. You know, you see your reflection in the mirror, then you leave, then guess what? You straightway forget it. What you had or what you did in the mirror. That's Most High God is comparing his wickedness too. He's saying eventually, guess what? They may be planting good seeds, but eventually those things are going to run dry, and he's really going to show his true colors. So our people must wake up in these days, man, and understand this. Let's go back to Daniel's chapter 12 real quick. I'm saying, brothers and sisters, have any questions or anything, please put it in the chat. The precepts for confusion of faces, because I make no mistake. Our people have a confusion of face on them. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off. Because when it says a near, meaning what? A near captivity, near Jerusalem, and a far captivity like how we're in. Meaning what? Esau has blanketed the minds and hearts of all people under the heaven, man. So you got people in other countries never used to celebrate Christmas. Now all of a sudden they're celebrating Christmas. And these are the doctrines that Esau, so-called Babylon the Great, perpetuate throughout the earth. Meaning if you don't get with their program, they do what? They punish you for those things, man. Shalom, shalom, new brothers and sisters that are tuning in. It says, and that are far off, though all the countries, whether they has driven them because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. Let's get another precept. Let's go to the book of Baruch, chapter 1 and verse 15. This is a precept for Daniel chapter 9 and verse 7. It says, how time we come up out of these ways, come up out of the deceit, come up out of these lies that we have been taught. And that's one of the main big 10. Thou shalt not lie. You even see what's his name, TD Jakes. I think my wife showed me a post on him. I don't care what day it was on. I just want to celebrate his birthday. Well, it's all a lie. I mean, it's all a lie. Whether you doing it to celebrate that when Christ's birthday is not in a damn winter and it's not on Christmas. I mean, it's just a blatant lie. And they're not even keeping the Big Ten. I mean, it makes no sense. Baruch chapter 1 and verse, what did I say? Baruch chapter 1 and verse, is that what I want? 1 and 15, Salaki. This is the book of Baruch chapter 1 and verse 15. So we know Baruch was what? Baruch was Jeremiah's scribe. So Baruch was in what? The Babylonian captivity as well. Writing the things that, guess what, the Most High God put on Jeremiah to speak. You can find that in Jeremiah chapter 45 and verse 1. We'll get that next. This is the book of Baruch chapter 1 and verse 15. And ye shall say to the Lord our God, belongeth righteousness, but unto us the confusion of faces, as it is come to pass this day unto them of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to our kings, and to our princes, and to our priests, and to our prophets, and to our fathers. Meaning what? From the top all the way down to the bottom. Don't think that Creflo Holler and Creflo, and TD Jakes now, guess what? They're under the guidelines and lies of Esau. They're literally reading the Bible through the eyes of the so-called white man. Like we said, we always call our people Negropeans because guess what? They're just doing whatever master is telling them to do. Even when they go to their theological schools, who do you think is teaching them the understanding of John 3:16? Of God so loved the world that guess what? God loves everybody. He hates the sin, not the sinner. Those things are lies according to the Bible, man. It says, for we have sinned before the Lord and disobeyed him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our God to walk in the commandments that he gave us openly. He's given us these things openly. I know a lot of times brothers and sisters think that this is a deep mystery, that these things are hid from us. But guess what? That's why he has different Israelite camps set up on different corners of all the cities of all the states around the country and even worldwide, man, to teach our people. So guess what? You won't have an excuse in that day. I love to bring this up all the time. Lord, I didn't know. I didn't know we weren't supposed to do that. I didn't know we had to keep your commandments. Then you're going to play it back in your mind like, yes, you did. You lying. This is the punishment. These are the judgment because the Most High God going to want you to feel that thing, man, in this due time. And it is what it is. Like we said, that's why, like we say, we have to endure in this walk. And we cannot spare brothers and sisters, man. We're commanded to do a job, and guess what? We must do it. Let's get that right quick. Go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 1 and verse 5. It's our job to tell our people the truth, man. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 1 and verse 5. Go thy way and show my people their sinful deeds. So we're literally telling our people that guess what? You shouldn't be partaking in the traditions of man. You should be following the laws of God. It says, go thy way and show my people their sinful deeds and their children their wickedness, which they have done against me, that they may tell their children's children, because of the sins of their fathers are increased in them. So a lot of times we have to tell our people the truth, because if you don't, that lie keeps being perpetuated throughout generations and generations. Esau have done a number on our people, man. But all praise to the Most High God. He's raising up the elect to guess what? Push away the lies that we have been taught. It says, because of the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me and have offered unto strange gods. Like we say, January is the god of Janus, meaning what? To peer back and forth through time. That is a literal god, man. And that's what our people, when they're busting them guns in the air, what are they doing? They're literally sacrificing to those gods, man. Paying homage. Our people walk on this and they know not what they do, man. They don't even understand that it's consequences for their actions, man. They have no clue on these things, man, and just do these things blindly. They want to claim when they come up on brothers and sisters or come up on the Israelites, their own brothers, they want to be deep all of a sudden. Well, damn, brother, you didn't know about Janus, the god of January? I mean, you didn't know about this. You so deep, my brother. How you didn't know about that? No, they only want to just be deep when it comes to their own brothers and sisters, man. It says, because of the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me and have offered unto strange gods. Am not I, even he that brought them out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage? But they have provoked me unto wrath and despised my counsel. So when we are celebrating these false deities, guess what? That pisses the Most High God off. That's why you're constantly seeing our people, especially these rappers, man, dropping like flies, man. Hey, telling brothers that are in the rap industry, man, hey, you brothers better wake the hell up and repent. Brothers and sisters, man. Hey, even with Megan Thee Stallion, it's no coincidence that the Most High God, whoever pulled the trigger, hey, that's judgment, man. Wake up. That's judgment and that's a warning. So, shalom to brothers and sisters. What do you mean, Cyrus iPod, 1948, with them, the fake Jews, stealing our name and placing themselves up as God's chosen people? Clarify for me, Cyrus iPod. Yeah. Now, guess what, brother? That's prophesied in the Bible, man. You know, that's how we know that the Bible is a true book, man. That is literally prophesied. Let's get there for the brother. The brother was asking about 1948, when the fake Jews set themselves up as God's chosen people. That was all through the Balfour Declaration. You know, when brothers look up that history or whatnot, you know, understanding what World War I and World War II was all about as well. Oh yeah, it's most definitely. That's what we're about to go to, brother. Oh yeah, it's most definitely in the Bible. Don't think that some of the major things or all of the major things that guess what that happened throughout history is not documented in the Bible. I know a lot of times brothers and sisters make the mistake. No, I want to see Balfour Declaration in the Bible. No, it's saying the same thing. You have to see the meaning in there and see the actions that is predicated on the scriptures about. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 36 and start at verse 5. This is literally showing you where they was going to take our homeland, brother. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and all Idumea. Idumea is a Greek and Roman word for Edom. Edom is the so-called Caucasian race today. So this is people want to see it. No, I want to see white man in the Bible. Well, brother, you ain't gonna see that in the Bible, man. Come on, man. Most High God is giving them names to their nationality, which they have changed, by the way. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession. That's going into what? The 1948 Balfour Declaration, brother. It says, with the joy of all their heart, with spiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. So they had the intention solely on doing that to do what? Set themselves up as God's chosen people so they can just run amok in the world, man. Oh, we can do that. We're God's chosen people. Man, that's a damn lie. It's other precepts as well too, brother. Let's go to the book of Joel chapter 3 verse 2. There's other precepts concerning prophecies about them doing that. That was the whole point of that, man. That's why you had the Holocaust or whatnot. You know, so the world could feel sympathy for them and just set them up. That's why you have books like From Babylon to Timbuktu. You have books like The 13 Tribes by Arthur Koestler. You know, even they own people know that, guess what? They are not the real Jews. They know that they come from the Caucasus Mountain, know that they're originally Khazars, or come from what? Idumea and ultimately Edom. It says, Shalom. It says, Cyrus, what would happen when we go into the land because so many people say they will be evacuated or killed off? Now, that's another good question, brother. And we say the Most High God is going to set us up in that land. He's going to be able to put us back. So brothers and sisters, you know, we have always taught the doctrine. You know, some camp leaders teach that doctrine. Hey, we need to, guess what? Come up out of her, physically go back to Jerusalem. But no, the Bible says that the Most High God is going to put us back in that land. And we'll get that precept. This is another precept for Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 5. This is the book of Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. I start at verse 1. This is the book of Joel 3 and 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Who have parted God's land over there? You got the Edomites over there parting their land, and you got the Palestinians, which are the Arabs today, which have parted God's land. That land don't belong to neither one of them damn nations, man. And guess what? They're going to be cut in pieces. That's why it's constantly war over there. It's many precepts in the Bible showing you that, guess what? Those are not God's chosen people over there. Because the Bible says when God's chosen people is in that land, guess what? It's going to be peace. Man, you always heard about war in the Middle East. It ain't going to be no peace in the Middle East, man. Because guess what? The real people are not in that land. It says, and they have cast lots for my people, meaning what? Put us in slavery, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? These are African nations, and all the coast of Palestine. Palestine is going into the Arabs. So the Africans and the Arabians conspired together. Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense on your own head? Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. So these are prophecies concerning those things happening, brother. So you have the Africans, the Arabians, selling us to the white man, and ultimately for the white man to get the land of Israel. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 14. So no, brothers and sisters shouldn't be scrambling to that land, because guess what? That land gonna be blown from hell to kingdom come too, man. It's gonna be blown back, because guess what? The Most High God got to get rid of all that filth over there. They God's chosen people, but they have one of the most biggest gay pride marches over there. Over there smoking kosher cigarettes and eating kosher pork. Man, that's just straight wickedness, man. Those are not God's chosen people, man. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. It's the precept showing that how we're going to get back to Jerusalem. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. So the Most High God is not telling us to go back there. No, a mass exodus. Pack your bags, get your boarding passes, get your passports, and let's just fly back over there to Israel. No, the Most High God is going to set us literally in our homeland with the chariots. That's how we're going to be set back in our homeland. It says, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So the Most High God is going to miraculously set us in Israel. So you no longer have to get passports and fly back to Jerusalem. No, that place is going to be blown up as well, brother. I was saying, what will happen when we go into the land, because so many people say they will be evacuated and killed off. And that's another point too as well. The people that go over there, because I know you had a lot of our brothers and sisters, when they was woken up to the truth, they did a big group of them went over there. Damn it, I can't think of the name. Just had it. Maybe it'll come back to me. So a big group of Israelites, real Israelites, went back over there, but they're over there subject to persecutions, racism. They put them on the worst parts of the land. The Damona, Salakia, that's what it is, Damona. So it was a large group of our brothers and sisters over there, but they're being persecuted as well, man. They put them off on the worst parts of the land, man. So Most High God is going to physically put us back over there, brother. Any other questions real quick? Yeah, Benaniyah, exactly. Some of those, but those are the precepts to show you that They had already had that plan. Remember, the Most High God, they're just acting out what the Most High God had already foretold us and warned us about anyway. You know, let's go to the book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 8. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2, and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. So the Most High God was already warning us, don't go with these traditions. Go with, guess what? Your heritage that's in the Bible. We have a great tradition as a nation of people, man. Wearing our fringes, putting on beautiful garments, celebrating the dedication for 8 days, celebrating the Passover for 8 days. This is a beautiful heritage, brothers and sisters, man. That's the heritage that we need to take hold of. I was bringing these precepts out yesterday, brother. Whereas a talk, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 17, verse 11. This is our heritage. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 17, and verse 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. So our heritage, our traditions lies within the laws of the Most High God. Sisters being in order. That's one thing that sisters and brothers and sisters must get back into. Brothers being in order, but especially with the sisters. Carrying yourself in modest apparel, wearing your fringes, having your head covered, not being what? All up in brothers' faces trying to seek attention, not doing the wickedness that we see in the world. I know brothers and sisters are seeing these things all on these podcasts, man. Brothers are literally going at them. Then you having some sisters that are fed up with these things too. Because sisters just are not being held accountable for the wickedness that they're doing. Now understand that it's a road that comes with marriage. That's a lie that sisters have been taking. A happy wife, happy life. That's a lie that has been inherited with our people. That's a bold-faced lie. And Esau uses those things to do what? To bring division between our nation, between the man and the woman. We cannot be deceived, brothers and sisters. They're working at all costs to do what? Stop us from rebuilding as a nation. That's a lie that we must stomp down as a nation of people. It says, besides this, he gave them knowledge and a law of life for an inheritance. He made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his judgments. Their eyes saw the majesty of his glory, and their ears heard the glorious voice. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. I'm going to read that again, verse 14. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. So the Most High God constantly did what? Gave us warning concerning what? The other nations. Warning us from what? All unrighteousness. Don't go into that way, brother. Don't be smoking cigarettes. Don't be smoking weed. Don't be dealing with your wife out of order. Sisters, y'all deal with your husbands in order. He was telling us warning. It's just not about these wicked holidays, but it's more important. It's about being a well-rounded Israelite, man. Because you got some brothers and sisters, they good at this level, but they not good at that level. No, you want to be well-rounded when it comes to this truth. Showing hospitality and love to your brothers and sisters, willing to help put in the work among whatever congregation you attend. It's just not about sitting down and guess what? Getting scriptures. That's the important part, but it's other parts to this thing too, and other work to be done in the nation of Israel as work. Being an Israelite, just not you being an Israelite in class, but more so being an Israelite outside of those doors, man. To do what? To set the example, to be that light. Shalom, shalom to brothers and sisters that are tuning in. It says, verse 14, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 14. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. And he gave every man commandment concerning his neighbor. So the Most High God was showing us on how to deal with, for one, our real neighbors, then for two, even the other nations. Meaning what? Don't go into their ways. Don't do their customs. Don't do their traditions. That's why we have what? Jeremiah chapter 10. Don't do none of the things that they are doing. The Most High God has made us what? Separate to all other nations. Why would you want to do what the other nations are doing any damn way? I mean, it makes no damn sense. How is that being holy? And our people be the first ones saying that they all holier than thou, saved by the blood and the lamb. No, you're going to be killed by the blood and the lamb if you don't get in order, man. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, 20 and verse 26, Salakia. It said, any brothers and sisters got any questions, put them in the chat so we can cover these things. So I pray that brothers and sisters don't get caught up in the illusion, especially with your families trying to come over here and tell you to celebrate these things. Baby, did you eat your black eyed peas this year? No, I'm not eating black eyed peas, man, because it's not the new damn years. No, not doing none of this stuff. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye shall be mine. So the Most High God is telling us that, guess what? He separated us. So the things that other nations do, guess what? We shouldn't be doing those things, and we shouldn't partake in those things, man. Talk about at all, not even a little bit, man. Like we say, I'm going to read this again. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people. So we see other people, the majority of the world, celebrating these things. Not even understand when you shooting those bullets up in the air, they got to come down. Not even understanding, man, you could be putting your own nation in danger by doing those things. Popping firecrackers, all type of wickedness, man. It's just running them up. It's one of the most wickedest days out there, man. I heard about and seen so many people being killed on these days coming from the club. Shouldn't be in clubs at all. I'm talking about at all, brothers. What are brothers and sisters going to the club for anyway? Knowing sisters going to get what? Unwanted attention. Brothers going to the clubs to do what? See anything that they can hit. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves, man. That's going into revelings. That's what clubbing is. That's what it was called in the ancient times, because they reveled in all type of wickedness. Smoking the most amount of weed, drinking the most amount of drugs, drinks, popping the most amount of drugs. A lot of times people are dying from overdoses. I mean, it's no good thing that is in those clubs at all, man. I'm talking about none. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 21. The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 21. And this is written to the Israelites that were scattered in Thessalonica. This is not talking about white folks. We have to constantly go over these things. Just because they see Thessalonians, they automatically thinking this is talking about Greeks or white people. No, this is talking about Israelites that were scattered in these places, brothers and sisters. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 21. And it reads, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Most High God is constantly telling us, prove it. Telling Esau, prove to me that, guess what, this is January the 1st. How do you prove it? You prove it with the Bible. Show me a scripture in the Bible to show you, that tells me that, guess what, the new year will spring up in the middle of the winter. You have to literally go in precept upon precept. And a lot of times our people just take what Esau says and, guess what, just do these things blindly, man. Don't even care. Because they know that, guess what, he's the ruler of this world. But then to come at their brothers harshly when we're just trying to read them scriptures, then that's when they want us to prove it. Now, brother, you got to prove to me that. But damn, the so-called white man just said it, you ran with it. But when your brother, a person that look like you, now, brother, you got to go into exhortation. You got to go into your doctorate. Brother, show me your master. Show me your doctorate, brother. And then, brother, still don't believe you, man. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 21 from the top. Prove all things. Hold fast that which is good. Verse 22 is the point. Abstain from all appearance of evil, man. And that's something that brothers and sisters must meditate on, man. Abstaining from all appearance of evil. So even like we always say, you don't never want to partake in, guess what, you shooting your gun. I'm just doing it just because. No. Because people see that, then 9 times out of 10, you got your fringes on. They look at, what the hell? Israelites celebrate what? They busting their guns too? No, man. Israelites should be busting this Bible, man. That's the only thing our people should be busting when it comes to January the 1st. Even when people trying to, guess what, go and be slick and go around their family members during Christmas time. Man, you got any other time to be around your family. Why do you have the need to, guess what, go around them during that time? Or that you just feel like you just want some turkey and dressing around that time, man. Nah, man. We got to stop playing the games, brothers and sisters, and abstain from all appearance of evil, man. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 21. I say, if brothers and sisters have any questions, put them in the chat. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 41 in verse, a precept for First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 21. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 21. And it reads, produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reason, saith the King of Jacob. Even like how we're telling Esau, show us that, guess what? Prove to us that y'all are the real Jews. Prove to us that, man. Prove to us that, guess what? We should celebrate Christmas, or that we should celebrate birthdays. Where are your books? Where are your letters or whatnot that is sent by the Most High God showing us that we should be doing these things? It reads, produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reason, saith the King of Jacob. Let them bring them forth and show us what shall happen. Let them show the former things. This is why the Bible, no book on the planet Earth can touch the Bible, man. Because guess what? The Bible is showing us the former things, and it's showing us what? The latter things as well, man. Showing us how we got into this condition, and better yet, showing us how to get out of these conditions. It says, what they be, Salakia, verse 22 from the top. Let them bring them forth and show us what shall happen. Let them show the former things, what they be, that we may consider them, and know the latter end of them, or declare us the things for to come. No book can do that, brothers and sisters. That's why you have to count it all praise to the Most High God if the Most High God has woken you up to this truth. And if you're woken up to this truth, it's pivotal that you don't turn back from these things, man. Seen a lot of brothers and sisters being woken up to this truth, and they done turn from this truth. Now, guess what? They don't know up from down. I'm talking about in a state of a reprobated mind. This thing is no joke, brothers and sisters, man. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Black eyed peas. I know everybody. Mama, get you a spoonful of them black eyed peas, baby. No, especially not now. I'm not doing it. No, sorry. It was so smoky on the street yesterday. I could barely see the road when I got. Yeah, I know from all that gunpowder, man. Yes, that's right. It was scattered Israelites. EC, what you mean? That means cursing, swearing too. What you mean by that? That's right. Even like Brother Donovan put in Judah chapter 5 verse 20. That's a great point. They constantly, other nations constantly want to keep us in sin because they know if they keep us in sin, they can rule over us. So like it, brothers and sisters, I missed a few of them. Yeah, exactly. They know if they keep us in sin, they can continue to keep ruling over us. Let's get there real quick. Let's go to the book of Judah chapter 5 verse 20. You'll find the book of Judith in the Apocrypha. Brothers and sisters, do not have an Apocrypha. It's pivotal that you do. Because, like I say, if you don't have an Apocrypha, you only have half of a book. That's right, Judah King eating chitlins, man. Yeah. And that's adding sin to sin. You eating unclean food on an unclean day. So hey, that's terrible. Like we say, you eating the butthole of a pig. And we know, like we say, hey, boy, I was gonna say it, I'm gonna hold my peace on that thing, man. I'm gonna hold my peace. I'm channeling my Dave Chappelle. But yeah, that's terrible right there, man. Like we said, if you don't have an Apocrypha, you have only half of a book. This is going into when we were in captivity under the Greeks. So it's pivotal that you get this book, brothers and sisters. It only costs about $8 to $10, man. This is the book of Judah, chapter 5 and verse 20. This is going into the captain of the Ammonites, a Japanese. Guess what? Giving an intel report to Holofernes about the children of Israel. They wanted to understand who we were, what God did we serve, and what was our custom and what was our traditions. So he was letting them know this. This is the book of Judah, chapter 5 and verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, meaning what? Error is sin. And if they're sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. So the other nations have always known, guess what? Caused the children of Israel to sin. Then guess what? Their God will let us overtake them. Let us do that. They have always known the intelligence report on how to keep us in the estate that we're in, or to keep us at the bottom and to keep themselves at the top. And this is something that's so simple. Our people, we can ask our people, brother, do you hate white supremacy? Or do you hate that we're on the bottom of society? How do you feel about us having communities, but we own no businesses even in our own communities? Or that our businesses don't flourish like these other nations to where we can have generational wealth? We never have these things. Why? Because we're not keeping the commandments. A lot of times when we bring these things out to our people so simple, they still cannot connect the dots. No, I want to lean to my own understanding. My way is better. I know that I can do it this way. I have this one business. Well, why have one business when you can have hundreds of businesses if you keep God's commandments? Our people have to learn to, guess what? Up the ante and keep God's commandments. Verse 20 from the top says, now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. So they knew that, guess what? To overcome the Israelites, they had to keep them in sin. Even going back into Balak during the time of Numbers, they would send the heathen in, send interracial, the other nation women in among them. That can cause them to go off. It's no coincidence why you constantly seeing these things on the news. It's not a coincidence, brothers and sisters. It's not a coincidence that it's only catfish and unclean foods that are only available in the hoods and in the ghettos. That's not a coincidence. And that is run by these other nations. It's because they know to keep us in sin, to keep ruling over us. They know more about us than we know about them, man. And that makes no sense, man. Let's say any brothers and sisters got any questions or anything. I know we covering the inherited lies, kind of wanted to make it broad so we can touch on many different subjects, mainly going into the New Year's. I know I was saying EC speech mixing the holy with the profane, saying bad words. We must be an example, believers and non-believers. Yeah, exactly. Even in our conversations must be holy. Good precepts for those things is the book of Sirach, chapter 23. It's a great book. Our conversations must be blameless. I know brothers that did classes on that, Brother Yaakov. Captains have done classes on those things, and we constantly continue to bring these things out because these things are pivotal for our people to grow. A lot of times we don't understand words have consequences. The things that you say, even like I said, the scripture, I have to remember the verse, out of the heart, the mouth speaking. So you have to pay attention to those things, man. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 23, and I'm going to start at verse 7. And it reads, hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. So we must have discipline of our mouth when we come into this truth. You know that with sisters, hey, yeah, B. No, you should refer to your sister as that. And it's just so common. People just use it just so lightly. Being a female dog. Why would you want to call your sister a female dog? Even myself, I know we joke a lot, trying to put checks and balances on that. We must, set an example for our children, because like we said, if they hear us saying it, what do you think they're trying to say when they're at the schools or whatnot? And when I go and pick up little Benaniyah from school, boy, you hear all type of stuff, man. I have to roll down the window and give them that look, like, hey, you better watch your mouth, man. Cussing like sailors out there. Verse 7, hear, O ye children, the discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. So you want to pray for the Most High God to give you the discipline of your lips, especially with sisters dealing with their husbands or just dealing, period. You know, some sisters have foul mouths and need to understand discretion, when to say something and when not to say something. You know, brothers are looking at that, sisters are looking at that. Guess what? The Most High God is looking at that. Like we say, the Most High God is going to be snatching a lot of sisters and brothers' lips off in the wilderness, man. Like I always say, you know how your mom used to get your lips and twist the mugs? Hey, the mugs gonna literally come off, man, when Christ do it, man. Like this is something that brothers and sisters must pay for. Pray for. Verse 11: A man that useth much swearing shall be filled with iniquity, and the plague shall never depart from his house. If he shall offend, his sin shall be upon him, and if he acknowledge not his sin, he maketh a double offense. If he swear in vain, he shall not be innocent, but his house shall be full of calamities. So you shouldn't swear in this walk. Swearing is going into the Most High God. I promise I'll put that on the Most High God. No, we shouldn't do those things, man. Shalom, shalom to brothers and sisters tuning in. Verse 15. The man that is accustomed to grievous words will never be reformed all the days of his life. Meaning the cuss words that we know today. You know that basically how we say foul language. We just lump it under that category. So it is pivotal, brother. EC, that we do have a discipline of our mouth. Whether it's swearing, saying something to the Most High God that you know you're not going to come through on, or using foul language. That kind of goes up on both those categories or whatnot. And there's many other precepts. I know Sister Genesis asking in Psalms chapter 98 and verse 8. Let's get there real quick. No, Sister's asking, is the floods the same as the seas? Yes, to a degree. Yes, it is. In some contexts. Perfect example is the precept in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. That's a good example, and we'll get there. So yes, in some aspects, it can be referred to as that. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 98 and verse 8. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the hills be joyful together before the Lord, before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth with righteousness. Shall he judge the world and the people with equity? I'm going to start up a little bit. It says, I'm going to start at verse 3. He had remembered his mercy and his truth toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise and rejoice and sing praise. Sing unto the Lord with the harp and with the voice of song, with trumpets and sounds of cornets. Make a joyful noise before the Lord the King. Let the sea roar, and let the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the hills be joyful together. So even in that aspect, we know sometimes the floods can refer to literal floods, meaning the waters, but it also can be a similitude or a parable for other nations. So we have to understand that context as well. But to answer your initial question, says yes. But here's another example of that as well. Make sure I didn't forget the thought. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. Where floods can be referred to as seas. Your brothers and sisters can't receive it. All praise God. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse. Let me get straight to the point. I'll start at verse 40. For new brothers and sisters, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. This is going into how the northern tribe, or so-called Mexicans and Native Americans, got to this side of the earth. They didn't come through here by the Bering Strait. That's another inherited lie. That's a lie that have been pushed upon our people. These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. This another land that waters that it's talking about in this context is going into the Euphrates River. So he took us from Israel, carried us over the Euphrates into Assyria. That's why we tell brothers and sisters, geography is very important as well. It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. So before the Native Americans and Mexican Americans came over here, no other nation dwelt over here. No other nation. They were the first ones that the Most High God has given this land to. This is how we know that they are the Israelites. Verse 42, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Verse 43, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. So they went into the Euphrates, and the Euphrates empties out into around the east coast of Africa, all the way down to the southern part, and sailed up from the Atlantic Ocean toward that way. It says, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood. So we know that that flood is making reference to what? To the seas that they had to go through, or what people call them today, the oceans or whatnot. Same terms or whatnot. So we see where the flood is making reference to the seas or to the oceans. It says, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the floods, because we know that it's some terrible water activity that comes with going through the Atlantic Ocean. You know, you have some of the most powerful hurricanes that stem off the west coast of Africa and all the way over there in that region. So the Most High God calmed those seas or those floods so that they may have a peaceful journey getting over here till they were passed over. So you see that, Sister Genesis? Or did I explain it right? Is that the question that you was asking? Want to make sure. Or was you referring to, is the floods and the sea the same meaning for nations? Okay, conscious. Because I know the floods and the seas can also be referred to as nations. When brothers and sisters reading the book of, in the book of Revelations and in the book of Isaiah. So it comes with a level of discernment as well. And that's one thing brothers and sisters must have in this walk too. Discernment to understand what is right, what is wrong. You know, a lot of times we see things as being right, as harmless in these things. But hey, the end thereof is destruction, man. You know, I know a lot of times brothers and sisters think it's harmless to celebrate New Year's. Oh, it's harmless. You know, Christmas. Oh, I just do it for the kids. No, these things are not harmless, man. You know, it's a penalty to be paid for these things. Let's see. Let's say any other questions? Any questions before we get up out of here? Like I said, it wasn't going to be a long class. Not a long class at all. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 14 and verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man. Like even how we were saying, I know a lot of times our people see that it's no harm in celebrating these things. It says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. But we don't understand that we are doing what? We're giving homage and paying worship to these gods that these things eventually stems from. And Osiris, iPod. It says, what is the Messiah's name? It says, some say Yahweh, some say Jesus. And like how we say, we tell brothers, because this is such thing as what? Transliteration of words. So we know that, you know, we call him Yahweh. We know that they later wouldn't call him Jesus because the name had been established. But we do understand about transliteration of words. As time moves forward, guess what? names are translated from different meanings. So, but the main thing is what to keep the commandments. I want to pull this precept for you real quick because see if I can find it, where his name was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. So I know a lot of times our people, let me find this first. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Try to find it. Let's see what the main thing is. So I know, like we said, we call him in Hebrew. Sometimes I refer to him as Christ because he has names in the book. You have Christ, you have the Messiah, you have Yahushua, you have Jesus. You know, a lot of times to make it plain for our people, you know, we say Jesus because sometimes they may not know Yahushua, but then it's our job to give them their understanding. So you have to understand about transliteration of words, brother. But it's ultimately going into the Christ. You got to make sure, because I know a lot of times people try to equate Christ with Jerubbaal, Jesus. So a lot of times that is also why we call Christ Yahushua as well, man. This is the book of Psalms 138 and verse 2. This is the point. This is the book of Psalms chapter 138 and verse 2. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth. For thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. So you have to magnify the word above all his name. Meaning what? If you want to call him that, call him that. But the main thing is to be what? Keeping the commandments, magnifying the word in general. Let's get another precept for you. Let's go to the book of Revelations, chapter 19, and verse 12. This is the book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written which no man knew but he himself. So in this context, Christ is telling us that he has a name that no one knows but he himself. You know, that's why he was letting us know in the book of Psalms, chapter 138, verses 2, to do what? Magnify his word above all his name. Because a lot of times brothers and sisters get caught up in the name and it takes them away from what's really going on in the scriptures. Let's give you another precept. Let's go to the book of Zephaniah. Go to Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. Because we know that these things would be written in different languages. This is the book of Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse... Is that what I want? The book of Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse... I'm going to start at verse 8 to get a little bit more context. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the Lord shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Verse 9, after he has done that, may put judgment on the other nations. Verse 9 is the point. For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent. So during this time, you're going to have different names on what they call the Most High. You know, that time hadn't came when the Most High God has set order up in the world to where all nations and people are going to call him his name with one consent. Whether it's Yahushua or what, all nations are going to do those things. But the main thing is to be worried about keeping the commandments. If that answers your question, not. You know, but like we said, we call him Yahushua. Me personally, I call him Christ. You know, at times, hey, when we're reading in the scriptures, you know, I may read Jesus to say it to give our people understanding. You know, because like we say, our people speak English. You know, but that doesn't negate what what the meaning is behind this name. Like I said, whether it's Messiah or what. This is another precept for you too. I found this is the book of Luke, chapter 23 and verse 37. And saying, if thou be king of the Jews, save thyself. And a superscription was also written over him in the letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. So even during this time, during the Roman captivity, our people what spoke Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. His name would literally be translated through those three. It says letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews. So we know that those were the main three languages that people spoke during those times. Let me say, we got any other questions? Bring them forward. I know it's kind of hard. I know we always say it wasn't going to be a long class, but it's kind of hard not to and going through the precepts. I know we love going through the precepts as well, trying to help our brothers and sisters understand more and more about the scriptures. 12 gates and no joining hands. Yeah, that's right. Even like Jim the King said, a lot of times when our people join hands with these other nations, that give them what a weak point within you to guess what, push their agenda on you. Whether it's interracial marriage or inviting you over to the Christmas parties and to the New Year's parties. And you've seen a lot of those instances where our people want to go travel with them and they wind up dead. A couple of instances a few years ago where brother went to Greece or went to Rome and he found dead, man. So, our people have to watch out, man, and understand that these people are our enemies and that they mean us no goodwill as a nation of people. People have to understand that the Most High God set them up to be the wicked. So they, guess what? They playing their part. It's just our people not playing theirs. Like I said, we don't have any other questions. Giving all honor and praises to the Most High and to His Son Yahweh Shah. Thank you for brothers and sisters tuning in. Make sure you like. Make sure you share these videos. Make sure brothers and sisters help us push this truth, man. You never know what brothers and sisters on your YouTube feed or on your Facebook feed that when you're sharing these videos, they might get these things. Might be a chance for you to show them about the truth and invite them to class to get built up. It's all of our jobs, to wake up the elect. Yes, the men are mainly on the forefront, but guess what? Sisters have a job to do as well. Setting the example. We're saying when y'all dress modest with your friends, that gives brothers or sisters an opportunity to come up to y'all so y'all can let them know about the truth. We ain't talking about breaking down the 12 feathers, but giving them understanding that they are the Israelites, and guess what? Send them to your leaders, to get a better understanding, but it's all of our jobs to be putting in work in this truth, brothers and sisters. That's a thing that you want to constantly pray that the Most High God gives us, that spirit of being on fire in this walk, man, and not giving you a spirit of slothfulness. I've seen brothers go hard for years. That third year, their fourth year, they coming less and less to the class, coming less and less to camp, coming less and less to the high holy days. So you want to pray that the Most High God give you a spirit of being on fire in this thing, man, and not a slothful spirit, a spirit of endurance, and a spirit of what? Praying for your nation, that we seal up the 144,000 brothers and sisters, because I don't know about y'all, I'm ready to get the hell up out of here. I'm ready, man. I'm tired of celebrating these seeing our people celebrate these wicked holidays. I'm tired of, man. They shooting shots all damn night, man. I'm talking about all night, hell. So, and then we getting tired of this wickedness, like brothers and sisters should be as well, man. I know we tell brothers and sisters to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm going to go back to Leviticus chapter 18 and verse. I'm going to start at verse 21. I know we touched on this before, but even given these things, I'll read another one as well, but I sure want to read this. This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So when a lot of times our people feed into these false holidays, we're causing our people to pass through the fire. A lot of times because what you're doing, what you're teaching the children to follow in their tradition, that damnable tradition. So we want to make sure that, guess what, we're stopping these things in their tracks, man. For whenever the Most High God is waking y'all up. Hey, it's some tough and hard decisions, but I mean, hey, they got to be made. Brothers and sisters may have been in the truth 10, 12, 2 or 3 years, and your children are old, but hey, it's that time when the Most High God called you to get your family in order. It is what it is for brothers that have wives and for single sisters out there. Hey, it's your job too. That's how your household, you have to control that matter if it's not a father in that house. We have to put off these things. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26. This is the book of Leviticus. Let's see. This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me, for I the Lord am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye shall be mine. Verse 27, a man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. Even going into that, going into Janus, the Roman god of, guess what, peering back and forth through the future. That's ultimately where those things stem from wizardry and witchcraft. And guess what, dealing with familiar spirits. Our people must understand that, guess what, even something that you think is as light as that comes with heavy consequences, man. Heavy consequences. And a lot of times you don't even understand that you're invoking evil spirits on you. It says, a man or woman that had a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. So guess what? It was a heavy penalty to pay during this time that brothers and sisters was caught in that lifestyle. The ultimate penalty, which is death. Now, guess what? If brothers and sisters are doing these things, we have an opportunity to come up out of these things and repent, man, and turn back to the commandments, turn back to our holy days. That's right. And with that, giving all honor and praises to the Most High and to His Son Yahweh Shah. Shalom.